Lord, and so that went along with the drinking, and then I became very violent, and I beat my own mother. I choked my mother, and how she took a knife from the kitchen drawer and came at me, and I thought my mom could have killed me, and I thought, how could my own mother that gave birth be so angry? But I had driven her through the drugs and years of abuse and years of violence myself to that place where my mom broke, and I remember that in my head. That's one of my worst memories.
Revival at the church. It is talk of the town. Everywhere you go, seems to be talking about it. So there's quite a bit more business coming to North Lakeland, and yes, I guess everybody needs their car worked on, and since everybody's in town, they're coming here to get it done.
We just have so many people every day, come in that are going to the revival. Actually, a huge number of international travelers from Europe. Very culturally diverse and very friendly, and talking to folks that they've never met before that they meet here in the halls, and there's just kind of just an atmosphere of excitement among the guests.
I'm coming from California, and some of the students were talking about what was going on in Lakeland, and one of the women in my class got healed watching it on the television. So I just by watching, she woke up the next morning and she was completely healed. So I just wanted to come and see what was going on.
Through the front desk at the hospital, I gotta give you in it. Well, no, I blacked out. I didn't have feelings. I didn't have emotions. And so I didn't let myself feel rejected. I didn't need love. I didn't need a hug. Every time before I go to the meetings, we stop at Starbucks, we get a coffee. First overdose that I had on drugs was an attempted suicide. And I took over 42 extra strength Tylenol with codeine. And at 17 years old, I remember lying there for the first time, and they're going to pump my stomach, and they had to put all kinds of IVs, and doctors were running around. And, at that time, I was alone. The only person that was there, in fact, was my foster mother. I lived in 5 foster homes.
We're from Durban, South Africa, and we heard about Todd Bentley's ministry and what's been going on here. This massive outpouring of God's Spirit, and my boy had a tumor taken off his brain about a month ago, and he has a cancer of the brain. It's called the neuroblastoma, and we've come here with expectant hearts, waiting for our miracle. We're expecting our boy to be healed.
I live within a mile from here, so I haven't been to anything like this in over 20 years. So I don't belong to any particular religion or church. My heart is open to light.
I believed in life after death in some sort. Where did all this come from? I wanted to have love and joy. I wanted to have purpose in my life. And I found that at 18 years old in my drug dealer's trailer. There was a man that was sharing his testimony several times about how he too was in prison, and he was an alcoholic and grew up in a broken home and divorced, and he was telling some of the young people in the community that I lived about how God had changed his life, and he was now a born again Christian, and that you can be born again, and he was sharing his story with many of us over the weeks. Look at how many nations we have here tonight, 30. On a Monday night, I had respect because we had known one another mutually through years of abuse and drugs, and so I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but I did tell him, stop preaching at me, I don't want to listen. And he kept preaching at me, and I did become angry, and I did say, stop preaching at me, I don't want to listen. And he said, well, if you don't want to listen to me, then I want you to do one thing. Why don't you just say, hey, God, if you're real, speak to me. Reveal yourself. Would you at least do that? Would you be open to saying, hey, if you're out there and you're real and your name is Jesus, can you show me a sign? So maybe there's something there. Let me see. Because I was searching. I was open to the supernatural. And when I had my first experience with Jesus, it was like I was a brand new person. I felt clean. I didn't have the paranoia. I didn't have the voices in my head. Do you need the oxygen usually?
Usually, evidently not now.
My dad, who is a pastor, just got healed. He had terminal bone cancer and was already supposed to be dead.
Larry's beginning one day to live. Got out of the wheelchair, started feeling strength, took off the oxygen, can't stand and walk like this. This is his wheelchair. We're praying right now. This terminal illness.
I just praise God. It's crazy.
Because we know that Jesus Christ is the resurrection and the life.
their own needs, and just the testimonies of the people who've been healed. See guys who've thrown away crutches and canes. A little girl whose spine was at 90 degrees, and her spine was straightened by the power of God. Awesome stuff, you know. And it just raises your faith incredibly, you know.
I prayed that prayer and made a heart decision, a real decision. I want to know you, Jesus. If you're real and you can save me in some way, then do it. Once that happened to me and I had that experience, I lost all my desire for drugs and alcohol, and I realized I didn't even have a withdrawal. I had no craving. You know, it was just done. And I was like, wow, there's got to be a power at work here, because 6 months of drug and alcohol counseling and probation and rehabilitation in prison couldn't do all this for me. And now, one minute I want it, and it was like a light switch, and the next minute I didn't want those things anymore. And it felt good to be clean. You know, it's fun at first, but then when you get trapped by an addiction, and when you get trapped by fear, and when you get bound by nightmare, and you become paranoid, and inside you don't know how to get out, and you feel like your whole world's craving it, it felt so good just to hear the birds sing. That was one of the first things I noticed, is I heard sounds that I'd never noticed. It was like everything that was gray and dark and...
Dat het bezoekersaantal de plaatselijke economie van Lakeland aanspreekt is duidelijk. Maar wordt de lokale bevolking ook door de bezoekers aangesproken?
No one has, you know, asked to pray or anything with me, but it's been amazing, really, the people that have come from all over the world.
People come in and they pray for us, and they talk about restoration, and they talk about the move of God and how it's affecting our businesses in this area. They look for good food and housing.
Some people came up to me and asked if they could pray for me, and I said yes, of course. So they stopped and they prayed for me while I was here. I have stage 4 lung cancer. Well, if I'm not healed, I will die. I mean, it's just the way it is. If I'm not healed, I will die. So I want to be healed, yes.
I've never before even thought that this stuff was an option for humans, but it seems to be doing very well.
And 2 surgeries, 1 more scheduled. I had 6 nerve blocks, I had 2 more scheduled. Saw my doctors Friday, say, I don't want you to know what to do, because Thursday night I was in Lakeland. God completely healed me. They said, I'm a Messianic rabbi. I had to have 2 synagogues on the west coast of Florida, on the Gulf of Mexico. I had an automobile accident back in 2006. I had a total of 8 herniated discs in my neck and in my lower back. I had a lot of pain and very limited mobility. I couldn't turn my head to the right or to the left. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't raise my hand in that direction. It was just impossible with all the injuries I had. And then with God's new move here, God just moved in very graciously and took it all from me.
Persoonlijk heb ik wat er in Lakeland heeft plaatsgevonden nooit gezien als een opwekking. Gewoon vanuit de kerkgeschiedenis zie je dat iedere keer als er een opwekking plaatsvindt, het woord zegt het ook, de kerk is kennelijk in slaap gevallen, men moet wakker gemaakt worden, is er een bovennatuurlijk ingrijpen van God, waardoor mensen soms zelfs bijna spontaan gaan uitroepen aan God, zich verootmoedigen. Ik heb zelf dit gewoon altijd benoemd als een genezingscampagne, waarin de teken van genezing bevestigt de waarachtigheid van God.
I live in the UK now. I'm originally from Italy. I had a car accident. The doctors couldn't do much for me. They wouldn't operate because of damage to my muscles and my veins, and yeah, and they wouldn't operate.
Thank you, Jesus, for your love. I want you to thank him tonight. Say, Jesus, thank you. Forgive me of my sin. I want you to ask him tonight. Forgive me of my sin. And you got to believe in your heart Jesus Christ died and rose again. You got to confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord.
I decided to recommit myself to the Lord, and I went up to make a commitment to Jesus, and God laid hands on me, and that was it. I woke up and I got my crutches, I had to get up and use my crutches, and I didn't. I was walking off the stage and I thought, I don't really need these anymore. I was walking downstairs, and stairs is a nightmare for me. I'm healed. I can walk. I'm not suffering from pain. I thought before I couldn't jump. For 6 years I couldn't jump.
The greatest miracle is salvation. The greatest miracle is when somebody's changed. My life is a miracle. Who I was and what I am today, and the change. And how I'm willing to, I want to be like Jesus. Am I like Jesus? I hope so. But I need to be more like Jesus. That's the greatest miracle.
Hier is die plotselinge bekering, waardoor die man geweldig geraakt is en geïnspireerd is. Nogmaals, de man heeft een karakter dat ook bij een verkoper past. Hij kan alles verkopen, eigenlijk. Maar op dit moment denk ik, op sommige momenten, ja, hier ben je heel erg bezig. Die mensen die voor je staan, je bent erdoor begaan, je bent er mee begaan. En je hoopt en gelooft dat als ik dat doe, dan daalt die geest neer en die neemt dat gezwel weg, of die neemt die depressie weg, of wat het, de ogen wordt weer beter.
Vader, open this blind eye.
Just waiting for the check. I'm excited. I'm so expectant that God's going to just move miraculously. You know? I have absolute faith for that. My faith is stirred beyond comprehension.
Touch you right where you are. In the name of Jesus, you're going to feel vital coming to your mother.
Op het podium wordt met de kleine Joel gebeden tegen de kanker in zijn hoofd. Aan geloof ontbreekt het in ieder geval niet bij de bezoekers in Lakeland. Velen hopen op een bijzondere genezing. Toch zijn er velen die op dat moment niet genezen. Beleven zij het niet als een enorme teleurstelling?
I'll still believe in God, and I'll take this back to South Carolina with me, and I'll proclaim the goodness of God.
I'm waiting to walk. Maybe not tonight, but maybe tomorrow night, maybe the next night. And even if not, I will walk soon.
I've already been so blessed and received so much that I can never be disappointed in the Lord. I would never be disappointed in the Lord because He has blessed me so much with my friends, with my family who's been here, and with just His presence.
3 dagen na het gebed met Joel, vlak voor vertrek naar Zuid-Afrika, nog even uit.
Where are you, boy? Where are you?